I told them that I didn't even deserve to be released.
Oh my God.
Richard did 31 years, consecutive years incarcerated.
31 years straight.
He's the one. This is thus far the most we've ever had on the podcast.
I got sentenced to life, plus life, plus life, plus 6 years and 8 months, all ran consecutive.
What do you think about, like, why is it that in our communities we have to learn some of the hardest lessons, and unfortunately it's always prison for us most of the time, or the other route, right, which is dead, etc., etc.
Yeah, my mother passed away when I was in prison. My father passed away. My aunties and uncles, cousins, funerals. 31 years worth of funerals. I can go to prison and learn how to be a better criminal, or I can go to prison and learn how to be a better person.
Yo, welcome back to the Reentry Network Podcast. It's your boy Yak.
It's your boy T.
And we got another special one for you guys today. I really want to introduce this person the right way because this is someone I've been working with for some time. As you guys know from the intro video, T and I do work with the reentry audience. We work with people that when coming out of being incarcerated, we help them with getting job training. We help them with job placement, and we do that through PV Jobs. PV Jobs provides job training. They provide case management. They provide mentorship, all that, the whole shebang.
The community resources, everything that any other nonprofit offers, that's exactly what we do.
Right.
So, you know, we both been doing it for a few years now.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So,
and so, and with that, we are able to meet such great people that are really motivated and willing to make a change without even knowing how intensive their past is. And that's one thing we're going to talk about today. I want to give a really great welcome to an individual that at first wasn't interested in the podcast just yet. But after kind of talking to him and him actually watching the implementation and the way that this platform could help mentor individuals, especially youth and adults, and potentially even prevent people from going right down the same pathway. He was able to open up and he was like, yo, let's do it. I'm down. So I want to give a really warm welcome, and I appreciate you being here to my boy Richard Brooks, y'all.
Let's get it.
Thank you.
Hold on, let's see. We might try this one time. Let's get a round of applause going.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it.
Thank you, guys.
Nice, man. Thank you for being here, Richard.
Not a problem, Brian. Anytime. Anytime, you guys.
I mean, I didn't try to push you too much, but we talked. And by the way, Richard's a mentor. He's one of our mentors for one of our youth programs too. But we talked one day and you're like, you know what, Brian, I'm interested in being the podcast. I'm down. Let's do it. I see the impact and the reason why you do it. And I appreciate that. That shit, like, it really warmed me up because you saw what we're trying to do.
Yes, it's because of you, Brian. When I met you the first time, I seen it in you. It's genuine.
Thank you.
And how you helped me, and I see how you helped the other young guys. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it.
When Brian mentioned like how much time you did, I already knew off the bat. I'm like, we gotta get him on here.
Right.
My philosophy, and it stands true to this day. I've worked with a bunch of lifers, and whenever former lifers tell their journey or anything happened in their testimony, they're going to tell it way different than anybody else. The appreciation, the amount of things they learn in there, it just goes on and on. It's a different perspective than somebody that did 2.5. Not to say that, not to undermine that, but it's a different perspective.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing. Like the guys that taught me, because you know I'm being taught to this day,
right?
And it's they'll bring tears to your eyes just on having you feel them emotions, and just to know how you failed yourself and how it's not over,
right?
And how you can bounce back. You bounce back in the day when you make that decision how you want to live the rest of your life.
And I cannot imagine the amount of people you came across. Richard did 31 years, consecutive years incarcerated.
31 years straight.
He's the one. This is thus far the most we've ever had on the podcast, 31 years.
Oh, is that right?
And so it's just really interesting to see kind of like the perspective, the mindset, the ins and outs that you went through when being incarcerated and even coming out now, like what that experience was like. So I guess I kind of want to kick it off and get straight to that. Actually, what led to your life sentence?
I would say it's ignorance, selfishness, and greed. You know, I grew up in South Central Los Angeles, you know. I lived at home with my mother and my stepfather. You know, my two older brothers were raised with my grandmother and their father. So I was there with my mother, South Central Los Angeles. It was what
This
it was. It was
what
very
years, more or
difficult
less?
growing up.
Time wise, like what years? In the 80s?
Oh, in the 80s.
80s.
Yes.
Early
That's
80s.
even
Not like
before
me. I'm born in
Tupac.
89.
Well, the
so,
early
you know.
80s, I was in junior high.
Man, okay.
So we're talking about
Wait,
the
you're
70s.
saying early 80s? You were in junior high?
Yeah, so we're talking about the
Damn.
early 70s.
That
is
gives
when-
the audience a perspective on where you're at
Yes.
right now.
So
yeah.
I have seen it rise from the Saturday night special
Damn.
to the AK-47. I have
Everything,
seen it go from bow weed to Colombian gold to Thai stick to indica. I've seen
and to
it
now
go
shops
from
and God knows
all
what, right?
that
I don't even know what
transition
you guys
over
are
and over and over again, the same thing. And we do bad things, crime and punishment,
Right.
you land yourself in prison. And that's a whole different world.
Definitely.
So during our pre-screening, and by the way, just one thing to just point out, if anyone's interested in sharing their story, check out the link below, fill out our survey. That would give you an opportunity to potentially be on our guest on our podcast. But we did a pre-screening when we kind of ran through a little bit about your history. At age 21, you usually, we got a lot of individuals that, go in and out to juvenile halls and stuff like that. You didn't really have that experience, but at age 21, you got incarcerated your first time.
Yes, I had at the age of 21, I caught a case. I sold some drugs to an undercover police officer.
No way. How does that happen?
Well,
You had no idea. Like these were like straight, like they look like normal individuals.
I was in a crack house selling drugs, and one of my clients brought the undercover in, and I served her, and I got busted.
Wow.
And went to jail for like 6 months, and I got out, and I was trying to do good, and I did something bad. I took the law into my own hands, and I committed a violent crime.
Wow.
And I was out for about 6 months, and I caught my life sentence at 21.
Damn.
21.
So 6 months. So that county jail stint didn't really hey, maybe this ain't.
No, the county jail back in that time was fun. It's not lengthy enough. So you need a length, but you don't want it too long. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like a thin line between your education and then truly destroying your life. Because once you're in there, a lot of stuff is not up to you no more. So it's just the grace of God that you can make it out.
Right.
And you will figure that out. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Now you're trying to be good. Now you can't.
That part.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. It's too late.
It's too late. You're up on, it's no getting in your car or walking away from it. This is it right here. Everybody's here every day, all day.
Right.
No, real quick. What do you think about why is it that in our communities we always say so my philosophy is we have to learn some of the hardest lessons, and unfortunately it's always prison for us most of the time, or the other route, right, which is dead, et cetera, but it seems like in order for us to learn a lesson, we're talking about we got to do a stretch in order to. What do you think about that?
We're not being taught the rules early enough. Like I said earlier, I say you can go outside, your kid can go outside, he can be in the 6th grade, 7th grade. He's seen drugs. He's seen weapons. He's seen violence. He's seen it. He knows. So what else are you not telling him? He knows those things. Weapons, drugs, and violence. So what are we not telling him? We're not telling the opposite of that kind of stuff early enough.
Early, yeah.
Gotcha.
You're supposed to be able to come home. It's nothing that he can't handle. If he's out there, if he's exposed to that, it's nothing he can't handle. What he can't handle, how you pay your bills. He can't hear that. He can't hear what the mortgage is about, what taxes is about. He can't hear none of that. We can't talk about bank accounts and savings accounts and credit cards. We can't talk about that kind of stuff.
Part. It's crazy that you say
That's what
that.
I don't, we're not replacing all
Right.
what they're seeing with the other half.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
how
you're
that
right,
plays
you're
a
right.
part if you get it
Right.
Huge part.
You got to substitute it.
One thing that kind of brings me back to was a while back when I was working with a kid. We were doing like a financial management training, and he told me, he spoke to everybody in the class. He was like, what's crazy? Growing up, my parents didn't teach me anything about credit cards or credit and all that. I was taught how to sign up for food stamps. I was taught how to sign up for Section 8. That's what I was taught about. I wasn't taught how to level up. I was taught on how to stay down here. And when they said that was a mind open. Like that opened up my eyes. I'm like, wow.
We're teaching our children to go out there and be laborers
Man.
when
that's
you
the
should be
truth, yeah.
teaching them how to be owners.
There you go.
That's it. I'm not trying to teach my kid. I don't have any kids, but I wouldn't try to teach my kid how to go punch a clock. I want to teach him how to have other people punch his clock.
That part.
That part. Yeah. And it's like that's taboo to him. I can't be talking to my kid about that right now. Mm-hmm. We're going places, and he's seeing the real. The real papers.
The real, yeah. Right.
Okay, I'd rather have him having nightmares about that than having nightmares about the other stuff.
So true.
If you're gonna have nightmares, you're gonna have nightmares about how you're gonna finagle all these things that you need. How you're gonna come up with all these things that you need without harming somebody.
That's important to set that up, to have that discussion and set that up, that it doesn't always have to be that route. You know?
Right. Mm-hmm. So therefore, the greatest thing that, the government has going on, the greatest thing that the world has going on is what? Commerce. And by the law, I'm supposed to be a merchant.
Man, okay.
Ain't that something? So let's get into the definition of that. So therefore, if I had a son or something, and I say, well, we got to go through history. I want you to pick a name of a person who walked the face of the earth, and I want you to grow up to be just like him. Now, who would that be?
I don't know. That's a tough one.
Who would that be? Yeah. Ain't that very challenging?
It is. Well, I guess, right now that you say it that way, you would think if we were taught somebody to look up to, we should already have
we're
that
imitating something.
Yeah.
Right.
So what are we imitating? Who are we imitating?
I guess.
So these are the big questions that we always talk about crime and punishment, but we never talk about the opposite of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Once we're not doing that, opposite of crime is what? Business.
Mm-hmm. That part.
Law and order, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Business. Mm-hmm. Opposite of punishment is reward.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but this thought process was not something that you have. I feel like you didn't think this way prior to getting incarcerated, right? This thought process happened.
I went through phases. And the first phase that I went through was the fascination, the adventure part.
That happened. Was this like early in your?
Oh yeah, the very beginning of I couldn't wait to go to prison. I wanted to see what it was about. Old folks, new folks,
at 21 with that sentence. You just been sentenced to what was it? 31 to life?
I got sentenced to life plus life. What? Plus life, plus 6 years and 8 months, all ran consecutive.
Wait, what? What is life then? How many years is life?
Life is a number to life. It can be 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, 27, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's a number to life. Mine was 7 to life, plus 7 to life, plus 7 to life. So I would have to do at least 7 years before I can get released off of this first life sentence and then start the next one. And then I have to do at least 7 years before I can get this life sentence abolished and then start the life sentence off. So they give you enough time to bury you in prison. I mean, that's just the point of it. And the sentencing process has to do with the deterioration of crime. The penalties can't be soft to where you don't care about getting in trouble. It has to be severe.
It has to be severe.
Definitely, yeah.
That's why it has to prevent crime.
I didn't even know that process like that the life sentence process. But you touched on you said that you were I don't know if the word excited is the way to explain it, but you were looking forward to being in prison. But what had you in that mindset that you were looking forward to that, to being there, or excited?
I was already seasoned and cultured towards criminal activities. Mm-hmm. So when you're in a lane like that, that's what feeds you. I need to gain more education. This is the side that we're on. We're on crime and punishment. Mm-hmm. You need to be educated more so in crime.
Yeah.
I guess at that age or during your time, going to prison was like, this is the time where I get to educate myself on being better at what I do out here.
Right. And then what you do better out here is either or. I can go to prison and learn how to be a better criminal, or I can go to prison and learn how to be a better person, a pro-social person.
But your thoughts was more to be a better criminal or to be a better person, or you didn't know what?
To be a better criminal.
That early on, though, right? Because that's the beginning
to be a better
stages.
criminal. I wasn't mad that I got caught. I was mad. I wasn't mad that I actually got caught. I was mad because I did it wrong.
I can see that. I mean, that
You
makes
know,
sense.
I wasn't ready yet. You know,
I could see. Yeah, I could see that.
I was faulting myself on I messed up. I should have did it this way, and I wouldn't have got caught. And then as you grow older, and you just see all walks of life, because you got to understand when you're in your neighborhood or your city, you're just confined. You know, it's just like being in a car, and then you're in a plane, and how you can just look down and just say, "Wow, I could have just, did this, made a left, right, left, and been way over here.
And wouldn't have been
you
in this
can't
situation,
even, you bogged down. So now I'm seeing all walks of life, all nationalities, and how they're functioning. You're seeing
so
the big
interesting.
picture.
So this symbolically, the plane is you being incarcerated and seeing all the walks of life. Some
And it's your perception of things.
perception of things. Okay.
You can learn from somebody else's experiences. I can look at you, I can become jealous, envious, or I can be educated in a positive way. You see it. You see the interactings of pro-social people. Now, it's just not guards in prison. You have all kinds of teachers and counselors and social workers, just like you guys, trying to help us. Trying to help us.
Right.
So it's your choice.
Right. So you so walk us through the first few years and when you came in with that mindset. What was that? What approaches or what were you doing when you first got in to kind of like
And what year was it
Yeah.
where you started your journey?
87.
87. So damn, I
And
was
I
born
can
in
remember
89.
when
that's
I
like
got
13 years.
sentenced.
I wasn't even a thought in my parents' mind at all, bro. My parents weren't even married. That's
When
wild to
I
think
got
that.
sentenced, I was put on a bus with, I would say, at least 30 other people.
30.
And we all got sentenced that day. And they had 3 courtrooms open. And they pulled us in a big old bullpen, 30 of us, 40 of us. We all kind of knew each other because we went to trial and all this kind of stuff. So we're standing all around, and they got 3 courtrooms open, and they ran us through and gave us all life sentences. And we came back laughing about it. It wasn't nothing.
Every single person got life.
Every single one of us got life, and it wasn't nothing. We ready to go to the penitentiary so we can see what that's like.
Was this because everybody was like categorized? Everybody on that bus or whoever came with you was already categorized as a high level, like
No, we were
crime?
low levels. The high levels are, you don't even want to know.
wow, that's wild. I didn't even know. Damn, everybody getting
I'm
life sentences.
I'm general population. High level,
Yeah. I think Brian's probably even touching on too, like the fact that it just so happened to be everyone's fighting a life sentence
Right.
in that spot. You know what I mean?
I'm hearing right now they got people in the county jail with 15-year sentences, 10 years in the county
Oh,
jail.
serving their time type of deal. Yeah, I've heard some stories. So
Yeah, they
I mean,
talked
some
about that.
the guys come out and they're like, yeah, there's guys do. Now I think they're even stretching the amount of time you could do at MCRP. So you're out here, but you're still ankle
Right.
monitor. Now they, instead of 1 year, now I know guys with 3 or 4 years that are out
Right.
here on an ankle monitor.
Okay, now to go through the list of what's involved with crime and punishment is billions of dollars. It's not going nowhere. They might not build another penitentiary, but it's salaries going on, fellas.
And that's
It's not going nowhere.
I
Oh,
think
for sure.
that's one thing that's
It's
really
salaries
interesting.
going on, and it's big, and you got people trying to help. It's a mixture of they don't want you to get out, and then there's a mixture of they want you to parole. It's just mixed up, and it all gets back down to you, what you want to do with yourself.
I really want to get into that, but before we get into that, I want to get into how you learned about all this, right?
Oh, okay.
So, if you could talk about the first few years, then going in, and then we'll get into the education part when you educated you did personal education
Yes.
to gain all this.
Yeah.
Because one thing I want to talk about on that is the idea of people still going to prison are still giving these people jobs and paying their salaries because they're still getting incarcerated, right?
Excuse me?
Like the idea that paying the salary part that you talked about, people still getting, because people that keep coming back and back, you're helping pay for the salaries of these individuals that are working the prisons.
Yes.
That's a concept.
Well, because
I
it's
feel
a
like-
revolving door. So for
Right.
sure. So like you mentioned the judicial system. We're an integral part of the judicial system, right? Because if they stop arresting people, a lot of institutions crumble, right? Because there's so many things that are dependent on incarceration. This is a carceral state, is what it's called in the U.S.
Okay,
right?
well, let me explain this to you. You remember when you was hearing about the overcrowding and all the
Yep,
stuff that
yep.
was going on? Do you know how did that occurred? Actually, okay, I'm gonna just run it through it quick. So you got 5 different buildings, and the capacity in each building is 100 people. I'm gonna keep it simple.
Yeah, no worries.
100 people, and you got the hospital over here, and they hold a certain amount of people, and then they got the emergency beds. Okay, so now you got 500 people. The whole place was built towards taking care of this 500 people in the hospital. But when you doubled that up and tripled that up with the capacity, you overflowed the medical situation. If it wasn't for that exposure, it would have never happened. See, incarceration is tied to your health and fitness. So therefore, when they can't pull your teeth right, or it's too many people going to the dentist, we only can handle 500. Now there's 1,000. Now the ducats is coming in for your medical. I'm sick. I got a cold. He needs a tooth pulled. We can handle 500, but not 1,000, not 1,500. And then you did that, tripled it up, quadrupled it up in every pen all down California. You got to let some people out. You can't even take care of them.
See. So
You
that,
can't take care of them.
so that kind of led to
You have a
release.
2-bedroom house with 10 people in it.
That's basically what
You
it
can't
is,
take care of you. It's not enough space. It's not enough surplus. We only trucking in enough food for 500 people. Now we got to truck in food for 1,000.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to
Double.
have shoes for 1,000. Everything's doubled the price. So they got to go to the table and get the more money. And it just kept on going until it burst. You can't screw the cap on no more.
This is something that's ongoing, or is this something that was really big prior?
Well, I don't know what's going on now because I'm not there, but that's what that was.
With your experience.
No, with the experience of
In general, right?
overcrowding.
You're saying overcrowding? Yeah.
And then you compound that with there are a lot of people doing the right thing now. Especially lifers. Lifers don't come back to prison when you let them out.
Right.
That's what they know.
I always say people, lifers.
So they
it's
don't
so
have a
easy to-
problem with letting a lifer out once
They
he's
don't.
proven himself rehabilitated by the standards of law. And that is a difficult process, a very difficult process.
Richard, real quick. So let's take it back to your journey. So it's 87 now. You're 21. You've just been sentenced to life, right?
Right.
I kind of want to know how it is because now you're knowledgeable and now you got wisdom, but I
Right.
know it took a little while to get there, right?
Right.
So what were your first initial years in prison like?
It was just hunting down the information of my pedigree.
So at this point, it wasn't to rehabilitate yourself. It
No,
was more towards,
I went to prison with a chip on my shoulder,
go.
still angry and still wanting to commit crimes
Man.
and learn better ways to be successful in criminal activities. And you go down that whole lane fascinated with the older guys and wanting to learn how to make knives. I'm an expert in manufacturing weapons. I got all that in my file. I liked it to make knives out of wood, so it'll pass through the metal detector. So you go through all those kinds of things, and I say this, and there's tons of people that are, I'm Disneyland compared to what I know of other people, how it is. But I had to go through that. And then you go through a phase to where you have to face the reality of your case. You're getting mail. You're getting mail now, your attorney. You got to.
How soon is that? Like when you're
Oh,
getting
it's
that?
immediately, but you don't, you probably can't even read. I could read, and things like that, but you're not facing that yet. And then it's coming. So now you might want to jump on how you're going to get out of jail. And that's when it gets serious.
So you didn't, but you still took you some time before it got serious for you.
I
How
went.
many years?
Oh, it took like 15 years for me to face it.
15 years. Huh?
To face it and have to like, it's up to me to get myself out. Oh yeah.
So 15 years in, you didn't do like any self-help groups or anything like that? Any
no.
other certifications?
No, I ran amok.
The first 15.
I ran a serious muck.
So one of the trends that I see a lot of the times is some lifers, when they start off their sentences, they say, I'm never getting out anyways. So why even dive into that type of stuff? Was that your mentality or no?
When you come in, you're so vulnerable. You're just so vulnerable. It's just the grace of God that you can go somewhere and you have adequate, older associates who could care
Got you.
about your education on how to stay alive or whatever. You know how you want to say it. You know, so I didn't see guys come in and it's ugly. You know, I was fortunate to where the first places I land, you know,
You landed all level 4 time 180, basically?
all
So
that.
with that type of
I
sentence.
stayed in level 4s and 180s.
Damn, that's crazy to hear that because, I mean, I did a little bit of time, whatever, but always hearing the level 4, the 180s, and how structured and how rigid things are, you would think to me, like, I don't want to go there. I mean,
You will find out soon enough that you're not running nothing. You know, you're going to be talking to God a lot.
You find that out how early?
Huh?
How early did you find that out?
I would say in the first couple of years. I mean, you get so accustomed to them. You like, if the door opens and it's this way, I'm doing. You just straight. It's either or. I mean, you'll be so bold in your questions. It's just like, if I see this going this way, I'm acting this way. It's just yes or no, and you know, you're preserved or you're not.
Now, you don't have to talk about details, but I'm curious to see, were there times where you saw stuff and there was just like a whole perspective that went through your head or a whole different, like, and I say this because like there's people that have seen stuff on the yard and things like that. Did you see something and think in a whole new way of perspective during those first 15 years at all, at any point? Or you saw it as, this is normal, this is part of my life, I got to learn this, or anything like that, if you get what I'm saying?
Well, I've seen crime committed by officials.
No way.
So therefore, what is there not to see?
Right. Wow.
You know, cops go to jail too.
What kind of, like,
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so you mean I've seen crime.
yeah,
I got to go into Pacifics? No.
no. But
Crime. I've seen crime in prison, outside of prison, by people who have badges on down. Period. Business.
So 15 years in, did you do any shoe time at that point?
Yeah, I did my first shoe, my first year.
Damn.
My
So
first
you really
year in there, I got
started
it.
fast.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
None of that isolation time made you think about anything out of the ordinary at that time?
Well, it just makes you appreciate things. You know what you lost. You just the severity of what you lost gets bigger and bigger.
And you're talking about what you lost on the street.
What your opportunities, the big picture. It's not your freedoms. It's not just the freedom of you being incarcerated. The other freedoms, what you can eat. I'm talking about all you getting is a little milk like this every morning. Else you got to pay. You know, you got to pay and get the kitchen to bring the food. You know, you got to go through things.
Wait, what? You have to pay the kitchen to get you food?
Your normal, what the state is going to provide you to eat every day ain't going to be enough, sir.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
That's for me, right?
Oh, no. That right there, to keep that there, that's going to be like at least $300 a
It
month.
costs money
on
to
just,
keep that there.
oh, yeah, that's just on food alone, you know.
You look about 300-400-ish. Yeah,
Yeah, yo, it's terrible.
Man.
It's terrible, man. Yeah, you're going to regret that.
That's
yeah, it's fucking nuts to think about it.
that's eye-opening, bro.
Definitely.
Yeah, everything, your clothes, everything, the way it's washed. You're going to wash your own clothes.
Was there something that when you first went in and you don't but was there anything that you first went in, it was like, I guess some kind of mannerism or something that you were like, whoa, that's different. I've never experienced anything like that. For instance, an example I could give is I've heard stories where it's like, cleaning the sink, respecting the sink, having the sink clean when you're done, brushing.
Oh,
your
like
teeth
all
or-
those little subtle things, like
Exactly.
signing your sink to the point like it's a mirror, waxing your floor.
Like, was anything like that kind of
Okay, well, I went through my little phases of being of having my own stuff. I went through a furniture collecting phase at one
Inside
time.
there.
Collecting phase.
I ran across a guy that knew how to craft cardboard into wood-looking furniture. He was brilliant. Okay, back in the day, we used to make things and put them into the hobby store and sell it.
Oh, okay, I had
store.
no idea.
Yeah, we had all kinds of stuff. I used to make clocks and all kinds of stuff.
So you guys, back in your day when you first started, they had the cigarettes, the weights.
They had
packages
everything.
from
They had
home.
okay, now you know how things start off, and then as history goes on, the changes been made. The penitentiaries became so violent to where it was nothing left for them to do but just lock you up. They don't want you running around with tools and things. Grew out of that.
So you had
Definitely.
when you first went in, you had the weights. What else? What kind of other?
I
amenities
was
would
in
you
the
say?
boxing ring every day.
They
They had a
that?
boxing ring.
Yes.
Okay,
I was in the
man.
boxing ring every day, chunking them on camera and running the track and lifting weights and going to the law library and the whole thing. 15 years went by real quick. And then the appeal process and you wanting to go home and your family and all this kind of stuff, how you getting out of here?
So you mentioned the law library right now. When did that start becoming part of your program?
It was a part of my program from day one. I had various individuals who was assigned to take me on certain missions of weights, missions of exercises in the ring, missions of law library, all those things.
So you, like you said, you were blessed. You had a
I was
mentorship.
blessed. Some people is not blessed like that. You can just come in and get ruined from the gate. So it's just everything is just the grace of God.
What how was this affecting? Were you thinking about anything on the outside, like family or anything, during those first 15 years?
Oh yeah, my mother passed away when I was in prison. My father passed away. My aunties and uncles, cousins, funerals. 31 years worth of
31
funerals
years.
That you couldn't make.
that I couldn't make. And when I make those phone calls, you're hearing how you fucked up. And you could have been here. You didn't love your family. You traded the streets or whatever it was for your family. Mm-hmm. That's what it boils down to. Mm-hmm. And you have the sorrow and the regret. It's all waking.
When you how early? Who was I guess the first person that kind of impacted you when you found out that you lost them?
Excuse me?
Who was the first person that impacted you when you found out that you lost them? Or I'm sure everybody, but who was the
It
first?
was my cousin Renee.
And how did that? Like, how early was that? In a few years? Like, is part of those 15 or a little bit after?
No, it was a little bit after. She passed away like about 20 years after my initial incarceration, and they kept it from me for 2 months. And I was just on the phone talking to her auntie, and she just mentioned the funeral. And that's how I found out. And I said, "Excuse me?" And she said, and it was out the bag. And that's how I found out. It's just pain after pain. They keep it from you because you can't do
Pain after
nothing.
pain.
Right.
It's just, it's something else.
How hard was it trying to cope that? Like, knowing that you couldn't do anything right there?
It was hard. And when you don't know how to react to your emotions, that's what makes people make the wrong decisions. When you don't know how to control yourself. And when you're in prison, you do have the opportunity to learn those things about yourself. Mm-hmm. Everything is self-management, self-discipline, self-control. It's your fault. It's your fault that you couldn't handle the bad news, and then you went out here and did something. That's not that person's fault. So you have to control yourself.
Nice. Damn, that's
It's nothing that you can bring outside your body that's going to affect you. Whatever's going on with me, I got to contain it. I can't bring it outside my body, words or actions. And that's what they teach. They teach you a lot of psychology. And that's getting to know yourself. And getting to know yourself, you're going to have a purpose for yourself.
That part. So what you said 15 years. What made you what was that eye-opening time that led you to now like do this whole switch up and really start focusing on you, getting yourself out? You know, what instance made you turn around?
I started petitioning for my freedom, you know, writing writs and petitions, and I started learning about how big the world is. And, you know, I'm South Central Los Angeles, you know, Watts is around the corner, Compton is around the corner, Gardena, the Valley. You just jump in the car, drive for 5 minutes, you're in a different world.
Whole different world.
And then when you reading all about what's going on with your case and all this information, how powerful these agencies are, what they doing, how I'm getting my attorney, the skills involved, it's bigger than just what you was doing. You was what?
Was there anything like in particular though that you said, okay, it looks like I might have a shot, that kind of made you keep going?
Right.
Like, was there a law that came out, or did you see someone go home that you're like, holy shit, if he went home, maybe I can go home type of deal?
No, I faked it until I made it. All the way up until, I would say, the last 10 years of my incarceration. No, I would say the last 7 years of my incarceration is when I knew I'm getting out.
There's a possibility.
I knew I was getting out.
Okay.
Because I never actually took a life.
That's the one thing that trips me out about your sentence. It's not you didn't take a life. I believe it's attempted murder.
Yeah, attempted murder
with the other stuff, right?
Right.
But still, like you said, it's just crazy the amount of time that you served, and even at the time, 7 to life. How many times did you hear dudes that full on manslaughters that get out less than that?
Right, and it's like at the end. But when you're studying law and you understand the penal code process, you understand how laws come in. It's the deterioration of crime. Okay, so we say 2023. When it's 2024, how many murders happen compared to 2022? So if they went up, we might have to go up with the sentence.
With the sentencing, okay.
You know, that's how it works. The sentences that are here now weren't the same back in the day.
Right.
Everything's getting harsher.
Yeah.
The deterrence of crime.
Especially here, you see, done gentrified out the game. All these neighborhoods are gone. You know, you get in trouble now for a lot of things that you normally wouldn't.
So what were the first steps that you started taking to help yourself?
I started listening to those who were smarter than me.
Touch on how important that is.
That's important, especially when you see an older homie doing something. Because, you know, I'm an influence, whether I want to admit it or not. Whatever I'm doing, I'm an influence. Somebody can look at me and say, oh, I'm not going to do that ever. Or, oh, I'm going to do that. You're an influence where it's bad or good.
Right.
So when I saw that, I was encouraged to to help myself. And then you find out that it's harder to do what's right. That's what really separates you from the other individual, is the self-restraint. What you ain't gonna do, what you won't do.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not gonna do that. I don't care how bad I need some money. Or I'm not finna do that.
Just keeping yourself away from that. So you started listening. And so from there, what happened after you started listening?
I started getting blessed more and more with knowledge.
Positive knowledge.
Yes.
And what kind of positive knowledge?
It's understanding what exists. You know, like law and authority and inventory. See, inventory is a big word.
And inventory in relation to the prison?
Inventory
Culture, prison?
in relation to the world.
Okay. Touch on that.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so everything you see, where do it come from?
China. Just
basically.
No.
Made in China. I'm sorry. Okay,
No.
but no,
Everything you see comes out the ground.
Ah.
Everything. All the metals, all the stones, everything comes out the ground. Okay, so therefore the scientists, we forged the earth
Right.
for all its elements, and the scientists manufactures all what we see, glass, plastic, everything comes out the ground. It's all free. Water comes out the sky, out the ground. Oil comes out the ground. Natural gases come out the ground. Everything is free. It's just the earth is being mined and forged for all its ingredients. And then territories has been sectioned off through colonializations and conquerings.
Which is happening to
and
this day.
And it's all today, the hustle and bustle. And we are supposed to be increasing the standard of our life through lawful business and reward. And those sections is laborer, contractor, or financer.
Yeah.
My eyes just opened up because I never even thought about that. In that perspective, like literally
Everything come out the ground.
comes out the ground.
Well, I think that's it goes back to Native American philosophy. They believe that no one owns anything. There's no idea as property.
So
that
therefore,
was a Western ideology.
The first definition of inventory. Who does it belong to? Whose is it?
Ooh, okay.
Who all this belong to?
And everybody has different thoughts on who
It's your
belongs to.
perception of things.
Yeah.
Perception. Yeah.
Okay, now the government is supposed to take care of you. Mm-hmm. It's taking care of me through you too, right? You have helped me. Mm-hmm. The government has given you the ability to help me. Mm-hmm. And it goes on and on and on. And it's up to you to be creative, to figure out the way.
Yeah.
The way. All of the pieces are right here. You know, to make it simple, you know, the alphabet is from A to Z, right? Now, who said you're going to have to learn A, B, C, D, E, F, G? You might learn A, B, C, and then X, Y. And then you got G and J over here. You don't even know. You ain't even caught up to that yet.
Yeah.
You got all the pieces. It's your creativity that puts that master. Everything, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything has been redesigned anew. Mm-hmm. So it's up to your creativity to redesign something new.
So how did that mindset play in part when you were incarcerated? Knowing about like the inventory mindset, the listening, what, I guess, steps were you taking when you're incarcerated knowing this?
Okay, well, I was a mentor. I've done this. I've been AA chairman, NA chairman, in the classroom, a cellie coming in, teaching them how to read. I've been all that. So, that's just me.
What was the first thing that you did towards starting to build your portfolio to get out? Was it a self-help group, or was it was it a CERT, or was it Coastline College or something like that?
I did Coastline College, but it was LTOP.
What's that?
Yeah.
LTOP was a program that allows you to get inside yourself, as in the emotional part of the trauma. Like the classroom would be only about 7 people, and they would have to be volunteer.
Yeah.
Because the discussion is really deep. Confessions of murder in the room.
And then there's a free staff hosting.
There's
all
a
of this,
free
huh?
staff hosting it, and he can only talk so much because he never killed nobody. So he can't go all the way with the conversation with a person who's
been there.
So that was the teacher's aide. The teacher's aide was next to him, and he has confessed all his sins and everything, and he can just tell you how he felt. And he's, it's deep conversations. Grown man crying and just like, I heard some stories that's just, wow,
Yeah.
mine is nothing. Mine is nothing. Tragic. Like, wow. Oh, I had a cellie where he found his sister dead in the house when he was a kid, playing, and the smell. And then his sister is missing for like 4 days, and they're not even telling him, the parents, and he's playing with other kids, and they smell something, and they go in there, and he finds his sister.
Wow.
Yeah, stuff like that. It's just
Deep.
deep.
You think that's what kind of like gave you the tools to keep moving forward?
No,
Coping?
It's all of it together.
All of it
All
together.
of there's no single thing. It's all of it together, and it's just like life is too short. You just understand how precious life is, and then when you see the innocent die, little kid getting killed, straight bullet or something, and he didn't have a chance, and then here you are going through all this and all these chances, and you're a grown man, and he didn't even have a chance. Innocent, you know that was an innocent life, right? All that comes to you, you know.
So what happens when you go to board once you already have those type of things on your thing? You don't immediately get released, right? There's a couple times there where we touched on where you go to board. What happened to the one prior to, or the one where you started kind of gaining your certificate?
Okay, the board is like this. It's like you're dealing with experience. It's just no faking it. I'm sitting in front of a seasoned 40-year veteran. All of the crimes that can happen in a city is ran through his desk. All of the serial stuff. I mean, it's nothing. He can just look in your eyes and just know you. So, and then he's done hundreds of these. He's just asking you questions, and you tell the truth. And you know,
what kind of questions are happening during these
it's
interviews?
like, why did you turn into that how did you turn into that person that committed that crime that day, Mr. Bryant? And you would have to explain that.
And it's just
all your fault, how you took everything the wrong way. And it ain't nobody to blame but you. And how you ignored all the signs, all the positive people trying to help you, the teachers, the coaches, your mother, your father. You rejected all that. You got to admit that. And then you got to do something. First, you got to admit it. Then you got to change. You got to, it's big.
You got to show change.
Oh, it's big. I mean, it's big. And then you got the why. And you bringing up stuff in the past that happened to you that steered you wrong. You saw this happened, and it made you mad, and you kept on, you know. And you running from yourself. Yourself, you are the most dangerous person is you to yourself. People don't hurt you, you hurt yourself.
You did these interviews how many times you said before you got released?
I did like about 4 board hearings, but
4 board hearings.
you know, I have created curriculums. You know, there's a program called HFM that's been introduced into the prison system. That's where the inmate really sits down and he's close contact with the other inmates that are dying of cancer or hospice, you know, things like that. So I was introducing a program with that, and that really that put me next to doctors and nurses in the hospitals late night, just hearing all the stories about life and how their kids are going through. You have professionals with kids that are incarcerated.
Yeah.
You know, just because you're a judge or just because you are a warden or a captain or something, I don't mean no one in your family is not serving time somewhere.
Yeah.
So it hit home. It's hitting home.
Yeah.
It used to be a big stigma. Ooh, you know, you can't get a job. You're a convicted felon. Oh, you know, it's not like that no more.
What was it? HFM? What did that stand for?
That's a healthcare facility maintenance.
Healthcare.
And that's everything from fixing things to helping a patient to the shower. I'm almost doing things that I need to have a license. It's just that much.
Sounds like a damn near in-house type nurse or something like that.
Almost, you know, they're call, and then I'll be asked to come to the hospital at any time of the day to take care of things. And all of the chemicals, all of the blood-borne pathogens, I know all that DMS, how to take care of the books, they taught me all that.
This was towards the latter half of your sentence?
No, this happened like the latter half, about 5-6 years before I was released.
Got you.
So what kind of other programs did you participate in that kind of were eye-opening for you too?
Well, PB Jobs got me union. I'm a local union 213 local carpenter right now. But in prison, I worked on it with wood, making furniture. I loved it. That.
So how Is that something that still happens now? Like, you
Yes,
still
they
able to
have
do?
They
industries
still
in
have it,
prison.
yeah, I think so. One of the big players in the prison system right now, well, I mean, it was a few years ago, was PIA, Prison Industrial Authority, I believe
Yes,
it is.
that is.
For the one that I worked at, they had laundry. They'd have, if I'm not mistaken, San Quentin still doing the license plates. The other ones, they do the bars of soap. There's another one that does the actual clothing, right? The sewing of it. Each spot, it's not in all the prisons, but that's the biggest kind of like, I don't know, what would you call it, Richard? Is it I don't know. They're in the prisons, but I don't know what.
Okay, I'll touch base with this. Okay, now this is part of the prison industry, how it feeds itself and it sustains itself. Okay, you can contract to the prison. You can have a business and have the prison inmates make the stuff for you.
What?
You pay the prison, and then the prison pays the inmates.
What?
Simple as that.
Cents on the dollar.
It's
right?
like a contract, and you can get that contract through what is it? SAM.gov. You know, it's a government contract. So that's just real. That's just how simple it is. But everything is being contracted to the prison system. All of the food, the water, everything, all of the computers, all of the furniture, every place is contracting to the well-being of the construction of the prison. You know, so all these companies is selling their stuff to the prison system, and the biggest one is the new inventions of the necessary weapons that they need.
What?
The necessary beanbag guns, the necessary armor. Everything has to be upgraded. You know, every so often. That's how it goes. Oh, we got the new gun that shoots, 12 gas bullets. You know, the other one
You're
was
talking
7.
about on the prison side, the
It's
guard, right?
everything.
Everything
Is money. Everything.
Yeah.
From the gardener to the plumber, the maintenance, the trash, the food, everything, the furniture, everything is being trucked in through a separate agency getting a check from the prison system. And the taxpayers is paying everything.
Yeah. That's mind blowing because I did not.
And then
even
it's
know.
all free because everything comes out the ground.
Back to inventory.
Yeah, so it's just a big revolving, complicated circle of what?
Prison industrial complex, baby.
Okay,
That's
so
right.
now we can talk about weapons, drugs, and violence, the judicial system, courts and laws, prisons and institutions, judges and attorneys.
That's a lot.
Law enforcement and criminals, specific individuals, Al Capone, Babyface Nelson. And we can talk about this until we drop dead.
Yeah.
But where do we turn the page?
So that's one thing. When did you start learning about the whole of the system, laws and
okay.
So let's talk
Well,
about that. And what year did you start that when you were incarcerated?
I started that slowly from the beginning, but it just you have to with law and fighting your case like that, I had to let it go. It was just it stresses you out. You have to take breaks and take breaks. And then when I went for it the last time, I can't even count how much money I spent during my incarceration trying to litigate my case. I can't even tell you how much.
You were doing reading yourself though, right?
I was doing reading myself, but it's copies to be involved, postal services, you investigating, requesting information. It's just, and you're waiting months to get stuff. It's something else. But to make a long story short, I started trying to get myself out of prison. And it took so long to where the rehabilitation process was even quicker. I can just tell the truth and learn what happened and qualify to get out rather than to try to petition and say I didn't do the crime or they sentenced me this way and it shouldn't have been. I'm guilty of the crime, so I'm trying to find an error,
So that's what your efforts were first. You were putting all your marbles in that by
right.
doing the legal stuff.
Okay,
going that
now
route?
I'm finna get to this though, and when you get to the part to where I can just learn about myself and prove myself rehabilitated and get out. So when I began that, then I didn't have no other free time. I mean, I didn't have no other extracurricular activity. So then I decided to, I guess I'll study the United States of America from its birth. So then I put Great Britain and the United States side by side, and I started reading history all the way up from that. And that's how you just get into the government. I mean, that's the law-abiding business reward lane, right? So then, the United States government, the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all of the stuffs. United States Treasury Department, the Security and Exchange Commission. I corresponded with them while I was in prison.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
In what way?
I petitioned information that you had, like everything, if it's not top secret, you're entitled to know. Now, what's not top secret, you might think it is by the channels that you got to go through to get the information.
Yeah.
Like you might want to know what's the patent or something. You might want to know what's in Pepsi Cola. Or everything. And you would have to request that in a way. And then they would let you know exactly what's in Pepsi Cola. You won't be able to duplicate it because they can just drop something in there and tell you all the ingredients. So you won't be able to duplicate it, but you're entitled to know what's in Pepsi Cola. And you would have to request that. And there's different ways that you request information through the government. They have printing offices and everything. Let me go through a couple of departments. They have a central department, a national department, a federal department, a general department, foundations, agencies, commissions, facilities, boards, banks, administrations, corporations, services, and systems. You can't even deal with the United States government unless you're dealing with them through an entity. You can't deal
being what?
A LLC, a S corporation, a C corporation. You can't just deal with the United States government on your personal. They don't recognize you as a personal person. Why? These are the things you need to know. We need to know what systems are doing, patterns are doing, rather than what they lead to the influences.
That's a whole rabbit hole in itself, man.
It is. It really is.
Each single system, like that's why I didn't even know. This is my first time hearing that you could really get that kind of information. How did you utilize that? Did you have to go through these loops when you were incarcerated to kind of find the reason as to why you were able to get out, or like?
Well, I'm into law, authority, and inventory. That's what I'm into. That's my perception of things.
Yes.
So the name of my LLC is called Spear-Sided, Sphere, the perception of things. That's it. Mergers and acquisitions. That's just what it's about. Mergers and acquisitions. We are merging. We're conducting commerce right here. We're exchanging conversation. Everything falls up under that. Buy, sell, loan, trade. We're trading words.
That's interesting. I've never seen it in that perspective as well.
Yeah.
Damn.
So I mean, take us to so you had 4 boards. On the 4th one, that's the one that you ultimately get found suitable, right? Take us maybe to that day. Okay,
well, I'll take you before that. I would say the 3rd board, and I'll pretend that you're the commissioner. It goes well. You tell me to come back in 3 years. Okay.
3 years?
Yeah.
So if it goes well, why would they make you come back?
Well, going well, I came in there thinking that I went in there thinking that I might be denied 5 years. It went real well.
Damn, so a 3-year denial is considered a good thing then?
Yes.
Okay.
And I got back in his face in a year and a half.
Ooh.
I think I'm tripping on how that time frame. Why is it so long? Still, is it because you still have a sentence that you have to meet,
okay,
or
now
it's like,
you
what's
got
the
to understand that they got to make sure. And then like if he tells you to come back in 3 years, that's enough time for you to get in trouble if you ain't doing the right thing. That's enough time for something to happen.
Got you. So do you think they're doing it with that purpose?
Yeah,
So
they're testing everything.
They're testing you,
everything.
basically.
They got to see, is this not a gimmick? Okay. And then like we already accustomed to taking bad news the wrong way. You know?
I love
Like what
that.
you
That
touched on
definitely makes sense.
earlier.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, you tell me, we're not going to let you out until 3 years from now. And then I'll get up and mad and go out here and do something, right? Or I get up and try to make it where I come back even quicker. And then you might get the letter saying, we reevaluated that and we're going to see you now. You don't know who's watching. So you got to be able to take bad with the good. No, we're not giving you the raise, Brian. So now you ain't going to work hard?
Yeah, damn.
That's an aspect. Yeah, I love it.
thought about it like,
Sometimes my mind
my
goes that
gosh.
way.
Yes.
Oh, man, I ain't
and we
doing it.
conditioned to,
Yeah.
you know, we can't take emotional setbacks, stress, all of the things. The normal stresses of life is what make us go down that bad lane.
Right.
The normal stresses of life. We don't have enough money. Something's going on. The normal stresses of life. Some kind of conflict that we couldn't resolve or we couldn't figure out an alternative or a solution to. We caused something and now this is the effect.
Right. So when you went back, what happened there? Was that part of the your fourth one? Is that considered like a whole new going up to board when he told you to come back?
Yes,
That's considered that. Okay.
Okay, because like a lot of the stuff that's going to be addressed the first time you go to the board will be the things you need to do because they wake your game
First
up.
time. Okay.
You think you know something, you're dealing with the district attorney right there. You're dealing with
No idea.
the commissioner who's going to be 40 years into his career, and then you have a deputy commissioner, and then you have 3 other people there. And then that whole window is shaded. Ain't no telling who's back there.
You don't get to see them? I'm thinking
Oh,
you're right here
under.
in front of...
My hands is like this. I'm talking like this, and when I raise them up, there's a puddle of sweat, and I got them handing me napkins. That's nothing. Do you like some water? Oh, you're under the pressure. Would you like a 5-minute break? Hot seat.
Right.
Hot seat. It's just hot seat.
So you're looking at something and it's a one-way mirror type deal?
No, that's just on the side.
Okay, on the
so what's
side
in front
it.
of you then?
It's them, like you. And then you have somebody back there,
Somebody, whoever that is.
whatever that is.
Yeah.
That's intensive, man.
Intensive. There's nothing more powerful than that. I can handle anything. There's nothing more powerful than that situation. I can handle anything
It's wild
after
to
that.
think.
Man.
Like when I'm looking at it, it's wild to think in this perception. You're literally sitting in a room with individuals that are literally determining your life right now.
That's
And you got,
determining
and
your
then
life.
there's a person in the corner where you can't, like we're talking, there can be a person in the corner just observing you.
That might be the main person that you don't
No,
even
he's
know.
he's not the main person, he's a voice. And he is qualified to tell the commissioner what he saw in you.
So what is he seeing based off your mannerisms?
All
on the way
that. You're dealing with
react-
professional people.
Got you.
You're talking about a professional psychiatrist looking at you, and he's going to give their opinion to the commissioner after it's over with. Professional people.
Were you purposely like looking down just so you don't get like intimidated, or were you like?
No, you just have to be normal. They know you're scared. So it's nothing all your games, that's going out the window. All you're trying to, all that's out the window. It's just the real you. You're going to cry in there. When they get to like, it's everything. You're going to cry in there.
Yeah.
If you don't cry, they're going to call you a monster.
So you think you have to cry in order to...
The stuff that's being said, you're going to cry. If you don't cry, it's like, wow, how can you be that? It's hitting everything that they can imagine, everything they know your whole life. And they're making you talk about it.
And you're saying everything is also related to the crime, right?
How did you become that person that did that stuff that day?
Build up to that. Okay.
You know, I'm comparing this all to is that movie Shawshank. Y'all seen that movie? Shawshank.
Good movie.
No,
I've seen that
no,
movie
With Morgan Freeman
Yeah,
when
that's
he
a good
sat in front of the parole
Yeah.
board. This is way different experience. It sounds like.
Yeah, because he was faking it like he had to be this good person. Then when he said, "I don't care no more," and just gave up.
Yeah. So I'm over here thinking like that, but your experience sounds way more intense than what these movies portray. Like it's just. I'm sorry to bring that up. I know it's a little off topic, but
yeah.
So then you went into the third one, the fourth one, the third one, where they told you, okay, 3 years from now.
No, year and a half. He was in there in front of them a year and a half after the third one.
Right. So what did you do in between then?
Oh, when I walked out of there, I knew what I had to do, and I just got busy with it. It was fun. I knew I'm getting out.
They gave you some things to do?
Yeah, they send you on missions.
What kind of missions are they?
And that is to go study this. Go study that. Go study this. Education and assistance. It's your fault that you're not getting out. It's your fault that you're not being educated. It's your fault. All you got to do is, like I said, giving and receiving is the same thing. It's the same thing. All I got to do is be willing to learn, and eventually that pertinent information is gonna get ran by me.
Right.
When did they? Or I'm sure you remember the exact words too. What was said? On the fourth one when that was it. That he gave you the answer. You're coming home. You're whatever.
I wish I would have brought my closing arguments that I said.
Oh, so you prepped yourself
No, I had a closing argument.
So they give you that. They're like, all right, you get the last word, basically?
Yes.
Ooh, that's tough, huh?
Yes.
What parting words can you give them to? I'm sure you're thinking like, what can I say right now to give them an everlasting impression of why I should
I
go?
told them that I didn't even deserve to be released.
Oh my God.
On that fourth one, you told them that?
I said I'm not here because I earned my way out of prison. I'm here because the board has given me the opportunity to confess my crimes. And I just began talking about how I was and the state of mind that I was in at the time that I committed my life sentence. And that I couldn't see past 2 weeks into the future.
That's interesting.
And my mind was just based on trivial acquiring things. I would really look. I wish I had it's in my car too. I can read it to you guys.
You have the exact one.
The exact one in my car.
I'm willing to cut.
Either that or we can also put something on like the Instagram post. We can put something there where they can take a look at it too, you know?
Okay, I want to read it. I don't want nobody to take a look at it.
Gotcha.
Though. I would like to read it. Can I go get it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do it. We'll take a quick little break. Let's do that. Yeah.
All right, so the crazy thing that just happened, right? When I asked you, Richard, what did the commissioner say? What did you say to them? You said, I have the actual transcript in my car, right?
Yes.
We put it on pause. We got the transcript now. So instead of just going off the top of the head, you actually have exactly what you said, and we'll love to hear, you know.
And I like how you just said going off the top of your head, because I did that in 3 previous board hearings and just fumbled all over my words, being nervous and scared.
Oh, man.
So you would have to write it down, because there's no way that you could just go verbatim with what you really want to say when you didn't know exactly what was going to be said in the hearing in the first place. So you can't come off the cuff like that. So
First time I heard that, I'm glad you touched on that.
So this is what I said. Okay. I said, thank you, Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner, for allowing me to submit and or read into the record my heartfelt written words. I'm nervous, and at this hearing, I certainly want to express exactly what I know without stumbling through my closing response, forgetting something, or sounding confusing. I began. First and foremost, my understanding of law enforcement and the judicial system has evolved tremendously during my incarceration. And to this panel and board, I want to candidly convey my current respect for all the police officers who willingly risk their lives on the front line every day, serving and protecting our communities. Through to the judges and attorneys who litigate and interpret law. I consider them all to be honorable positions of humanitarian duties and perceive such individuals as nothing other than heroines, heroes, guardians of our constitutional rights and democracy. which are to me the necessary pillars and cornerstones of this nation that I am fortunate enough to be born in. Therefore, I can only respect how the district attorney feels in regards to my readiness or worthiness to be trusted with freedoms again in society. Commissioner, without question, I am guilty of terrible crimes. All of my crimes are unforgivable, and I find it very uneasy and disrespectful for me to even think that I could, at some point, earn my way out of prison. I feel that my privilege of having this hearing today is that this panel and board has given me the opportunity to say out loud and hold myself accountable and responsible for all of the senseless and horrible acts that I have committed in my life. I furthermore say, Commissioner, at the time of my life crimes, I couldn't imagine above material wealth, nor vision beyond 2 weeks into the future. Through my shallow knowledge, corrupt intelligence, and perverted understandings, my warped faculties were polluted with self-destruction, insensitivity, and idolism. Everything that I believed, felt, thought, and did was short-sighted and superficial towards the immediate acquisition of empty riches and trivial control over life's normal stresses. Commissioner, there was a period during my incarceration when growing old and dying in prison wasn't even a figment of my imagination. But now, I sit here today in front of you as a studious, mature adult, totally different from that reckless, deviant youth that first arrived in prison over 30 years ago. Now I am structured with self-control, self-discipline, self-management, and definitiveness of purpose. I can't take back what I have done to people, how I have hurt them. I can't change what I took them through. I can't change the past. All I'm capable of doing is apologizing, and apologizing in a fashion that can be seen as well as heard. An apology of good character, a better standing, and with constructive deeds. Commissioner, I have been the taker, the liar, and the assailant, and I do comprehend those filthy dispositions. As I consciously reflect the numerous family members who sincerely tried to help me, the positive people, teachers, coaches, professionals, and working class citizens who tried to steer me in pro-social directions, I failed myself, and I failed everyone who cared, wanted, and assisted me in life. Everyone in this room, Commissioner, other than myself, are of service in some aspect to the state of California, thereby a contributor to the makeup and harmony of humanity. And I, too, can help someone understand something beneficial about living a law-abiding lifestyle, the pro-social style of living that should truly reflect the attitude and values of a decent person. Commissioner, to be able to do something, anything that is contrary to all of the disappointment, pain, tragedy, and others have suffered because of me has become my focus point of my hopes. The truth about myself is my crimes and my downfall. My life story that I have created, and failure has taught me everything that I profoundly understand. And I know that it's a part of someone else's destiny that I pay it forward, like it was given to me. I won't hesitate to permit my experience to be someone else's unsought knowledge of not spending the rest of their life behind bars, surrounded in their feelings of sorrow and regret for the awful things that they did. Thank you, Commissioner and Deputy Commissioner. And that was my closing statement.
That was it right there.
Yeah, I had to write it out because I didn't want to just try to remember everything I want to say at the last minute. So that's just how intense those hearings can be.
I can imagine, man. And then sometimes you also think when you write it down, it may sound. I'm thinking you're already thinking like, am I gonna sound too robotic, too mechanical while I'm reading this? What's the style that you have to present to these people? Because they're like, they're scrutinizing every single thing you do at these hearings, right?
Yeah, they're scrutinizing it, but they're taking you to your ability. I mean, you're dealing with seasoned professional. This is the top of the professional. There's no
Right.
other professionals that they can put in your face. So that if you might be artistic. So they treat you as such.
Okay.
You might not be able to read well. Me not being able to read well, that don't have nothing to do with me being able to express myself in the ways. They'll figure out a good way for me to be able to communicate with them and to give them the answers that they need.
Got you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no, thank you for
'cause-
sharing that, man. That was deep, and we're hoping to maybe cut it out. We'll put it in the whole interview, but
Yeah.
post that as well, because I think that's what you said in those words. Like, people don't understand. It's not just something you just read. You literally use that to get free from a life sentence after 31 years.
Yes.
That is ultimately one of the things the deciding factor there.
Decided your life, your future. Literally, those words right there.
Yeah.
That's a crazy way to put it in that
Yeah.
perspective.
I want to know, what was the commissioner's response, or who's the first one to respond after you read something like that?
His response was,
That's a good question.
"Are you running for office?"
Oh, man.
No, really?
Yeah, that's what his response
And was that a good thing? Good
Yes,
comment
he's
or bad?
laughed. He said, "Are you running for office?"
How did you take that?
He smiled. It was just
Okay,
he
okay.
smiled. He said he just leaned back and he's like, "Are you running for office?" And I just looked at him and he said, "Okay, this meeting is adjourned." He got up, came back, and we're letting you go.
What?
Wow. How long was that when he got up and
Yeah.
left? How long was that? Like,
About an hour.
oh, so you're sitting there for an hour waiting for a response?
I'm not sitting here. I get up and I go to another room with other people waiting. Remember, these is rooms going on at the same time. It's just not
a
me.
bunch of people going in there.
And then we're all in the room, lunch breaks and all kinds of stuff, people sweating, and you don't even want to talk. You're pacing.
Yeah.
I'm over here going through my thing. He's going through his. Everybody's going through their stuff.
Bro, my heart would be beating.
Yeah, it's just very
Like,
intense
just not
stuff.
knowing what's about to happen. So they called you back in.
Call you back in an hour and tell you the facts.
They called you back in. Walk us through what happened. Like
He was just like, I boo-hooed like a baby. Boo-hooed like a baby. As soon as he said, I find you suitable. I just put my head down and started crying. I can cry right now.
100%. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, and I got up out of there and couldn't believe it.
While you were waiting for that time, while everyone else, was there anyone coming in getting denied or getting granted that were pumping people up?
No, not right then because
Not
it was
right
too
then.
soon. We're all going at the same time, but in different locations. So, and then we all got to leave at the same time. So we're gonna know. We're gonna know. I'm gonna know exactly what happened to you because we're getting on the same van going back to the same place.
right.
So this isn't even done at the prison.
It is done at the prison,
is.
but it's done in a location. The prison is acres
right.
Yeah.
at different locations.
Okay, I didn't know that. I thought it was like maybe going on like medical, but in this case,
No,
a
they-
board type of
they
office
don't,
or something.
They don't be walking important people around
do that.
like
Okay.
that.
Damn.
Man,
this
that's
is
deep.
that's
like,
the truth. This is the first time
I go, and I'm just like happy for you. Even
yeah.
now, you're here now. You've been out
Oh,
a few
your son-
years, but
yes.
still, just thinking back to that moment is insane.
knowing that was only 2019, right? Only 2019. It's 2023. That was only 4 years ago, and you read that, and that's what got you.
You know what you just said? This happened. This happened in 7/2019, and I got released in 10/2019. I was out 3 months
3
later.
months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
3 months later.
So what happens? You go now. You get granted this.
Right.
Do you start
Oh,
giving
my
all your
God.
stuff away?
Oh, everything.
Oh, you did?
Oh,
Off
everything.
rip.
They was
Okay.
all around. Oh, it was like I had to wait until the last day to give the real last stuff away.
Right.
Everything's gone.
Because you still don't know the time frame in which they're gonna let you out, right? Or did they tell you 3 months from now?
No, you don't know, but you know it's about that time, 3-4 months.
Okay.
And you just walking around, can't believe it.
What prison was this from, if you don't mind me
I
asking?
paroled from Soledad.
Okay. So, and the reason I asked is because I know some prisons are more known for lifers coming home than others, right? Soledad is one where they...
I don't know what's going on no more because I'm gone. But it was a whole crazy transition. I mean, they took us through all kinds of stuff with the prison system, with lifers trying to go home. I mean, they put us in harm's way in every way that you can imagine to test to see where you,
Oh my God.
where you know, oh man.
So the day comes, they come knocking somewhere
How
or
does that
something.
work?
They
Yeah.
start
Well,
cleaning.
yeah,
Like,
it's going on. It's a slow process. You wake up in the morning. You know this is the day you going. Everybody's around. You know,
Saying
and
goodbyes.
and you got to wait, and you know you're saying goodbye for 3 hours, and then you finally going. You're getting on the van, and then you being vanned out to the Greyhound station.
What I'm curious to know what you're thinking during all this, because at the same time you talked about it earlier, you lost a lot of people, family during that time. So who are you thinking about you're going home to, or what you're like? What are you thinking about?
Well, I didn't tell no one in my family that I was found suitable
No way.
because I didn't know whether I was going to get found suitable or not. And the last couple of times, we spent a lot of money on just getting ready, thinking I'm going to get found suitable. So we're spending all that money, and then when I get denied, it's sad. It's so sad. So I stopped telling them when I was going to go to the board. I couldn't take them through that.
So nobody knew.
So like I went to the board the first time, and I told my family, and when I got denied, I never told them again.
After that first
Because I didn't want to take them through that because it hurt me so bad, you know. So I went to the board 3 more times without them knowing, and then when I got released, they didn't know until I called them on the phone, and I'm out.
That has to be a crazy.
They couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. I'd be like, I'm out. Out where?
Out where?
Out. And yeah.
Who was the
that.
first person you called?
My brother.
Oh, your older brother, the one
Yeah.
from Michigan.
He went to Michigan State. He graduated from Michigan State University, but he's in Texas right now.
in Texas. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Damn. So what do you say when you?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, he couldn't believe it. He just couldn't believe it. It was just it was amazing.
Did you tear up?
Oh yeah, I cry a lot when it come down to that. I can't hold it in. You know, it's
Oh
deep.
man, yeah.
Yeah.
Family.
So from there, you took your Greyhound.
And I went to 360 Health Right 360 transitional.
Yeah. Real quick, you know what trips me out too about you saying they just released you? That sounds kind of like the normal avenue for most inmates. I got released like that too. I did 5. Nowhere near as much time as you. What I bring into question is like somebody that did 31 years, you would think that would be a different process towards, you know what I mean? Like you haven't even seen a phone yet, you know? Like
It's terrible. It's terrible. Even the $200 that was eaten up at the Greyhound.
They gave you just $200.
$200 gig.
What about the money you earned and all that during that time?
I mean, you get the, but especially if your family's not taking care of you, you are hurting. And if you have a good PIA job, it can sustain you. But savings, that's kind of hard.
200.
So that whole Greyhound thing was solo?
No, it was 2 other guys.
Man, because I'm thinking like you would think you would need somebody to walk you through a little bit.
That's
Your
true.
transition's gonna be way different than somebody that just got released right along with you that did a year.
Yeah,
You know?
but there's not a guide involved.
Right.
There's no guide involved. I get Van to the Greyhound station, and he makes sure that I'm paying for that ticket, and I got the ticket, and he looks at me get on that Greyhound bus, and that's it. You report to see your parole officer in 2 days. And then when you sit out in front of your parole officer, that's when they're going to get all what's going on with you.
So where'd you go as soon as you got off that bus?
I went to Health Right 360.
They dropped you off there, or you had to find your way there?
I had to find my way there from Metro, and
Oh
I'm
my
talking about
No phone, no nothing.
no phone. I'm scared to death, and I
Anxiety
have
right now for you.
and I have over 100 pounds worth of property,
What was that? All legal?
all
Mail
paper.
and-
My notes from prison. I mean, my notes, everything that I didn't give away that I couldn't let out of I had them in my trunk of my car, scared to let them out of my possession. My notes were 100 pounds of notes.
That's a whole tree right there. At least.
I mean, like
Man.
this.
Yeah.
Facts.
Satchel.
So you went to the metro. Like, what was it? Like, you looked
That's
at the
what I wanted
maps.
to
Like,
ask.
what
Yeah,
happened? Like,
how
how
I'm
you?
asking everybody questions. Okay, first of all, this what happened. I caught the Greyhound to the train station.
Like an Amtrak or something?
Yes, and then the Amtrak to the Metro, something like that. I forget how that. Like I think it was 3 different things.
Yeah.
And I didn't know nothing about nothing. I'm asking questions, and I'm just like, and I'm picking up my stuff, moving it, because I got all
You
this
had all that,
property.
yeah.
And then when I get to Health Right 360, they just welcome me with open arms, and I don't even know if this place exists really. I've been given this address, and I'm finna find out.
Oh my God,
crazy.
It's one of those. And when I get there, it's like about 12 o'clock at night. I caught the cab to the place from the Metro, and they open everything up, and it's real. And
What'd you tell the cab? Like, look, all I have is this address. This is all I know.
I
Take me
said,
there.
take me there. And he's like,
man,
he's
that's
like, take me
daunting
there.
as hell.
So I get there, and I don't know if this place is open or closed. 12 o'clock at night, and they're open. I push the button, and they're like, okay, we've been expecting you. I come in, and it's all love, just like with you guys.
Damn.
All love. And I bubbled from there. My first job, I worked at a high-end supermarket. I was making $90 a day in tips, bagging
Cash money?
groceries.
They were tipped. They
That's
tipped
not
people.
bad.
They
That's
were
a lot
bagging
of
people.
money.
20s right over the cash register. I'm bagging up groceries, and they're handing me $5, $10.
Who? Like, this in Beverly Hills? Like,
No,
where's
it was
this at?
it was in Hollywood.
Oh, okay.
Gelson.
I mean-
What is it? Gelson.
Oh, Gelson's. There you go.
That's
You
a
close-
nice market.
Oh, Gelson's like a
Yeah,
high-end grocery
I mean,
store. Like,
I seen $1,000.
I think I know exactly what you-
I seen $900 and something worth of groceries in 6 bags in a grocery bag.
Oh my God.
is that like a boss shit right there? Like, is that?
I mean,
is
you're
that like-
I
paying
expect half the store for that much.
you're paying $10 for a chopped up onion.
Yeah.
Man.
Gelson's is something else, man. That's like that's where you get the
And
most.
you know what? I shout out to that market for giving you an opportunity.
Right? No, let's
Oh,
say,
yes.
no. That's a
What the
real
hell?
serious
Like-
step. Like,
And it was through People Ready Agency.
they're still around. We utilize
Yeah,
them
I've
too.
been-
That's
People
wild.
Ready.
Yep.
This is a big important factor because I didn't even think about what you said right now. Giving you the opportunity to be able to do that, like you have 90% of the guys coming out here thinking they can't do nothing, that they
Man.
can't even work in the market, that they can't even do this or that. They can. I got to go back to doing what I used to do. But people need to realize, yo, you have resources. You could get a job. Don't think you can't. You can still do anything in this world.
And there's a catch to it too. They're under the impression that ex-cons or whatever I want to call us, we are more dependable than other people because we've been away. We've been working hard
Right.
for little or nothing. So this is more money, more freedoms. We work.
Right. Go ahead, man.
Yeah. So when you get to Health Right, you get situated and everything. What's the first thing that somebody tells you that you need? I'm thinking it's the phone. Does that come up? When does that come up? Like, hey, this is it right here.
Okay, yeah, but like I wasn't used to the phone, so I wasn't used to the phone.
But
So
were
I
you like,
wasn't-
what the fuck when you first saw it?
I've seen what phones look like. Now
Okay.
I'm not that blind because I was in there, but I wasn't owning none or nothing like that. But anyway, so I know what all that is. So when I got to the room, my roommate, he has the phone and everything, so he let me call, and I called and made that number. And then the next day, I was able to get a pass. You're not supposed to leave that
Right.
soon, but the lady gave me a pass, and I went down the street to the county court building and got an Obama phone the next day.
Just like that.
Came back in there with the Obama phone and was loving
On
it
your
like
own?
it.
I keep forgetting.
No,
your
I
own?
didn't go. I didn't go on my own. No.
Oh, you okay?
I went with a partner.
Okay,
down there, And I was on that Obama phone like it was an iPhone.
I'm forgetting this is 2019, so all that's in place. Obama phones and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
And not only that, people wearing masks, or when was that? Was that
yeah.
Oh, that's when I lost the job at Gleason's.
Gelson's.
Gelson's.
'Cause of the
through
COVID.
Through the COVID.
because they did mass layoffs or the vaccination?
No,
became an issue?
the agency wouldn't let us leave the building. Because
Oh yes, they were shut down for the
Yes.
longest, man.
How'd you feel like knowing that you can't go nowhere? Did you feel like you were back in prison?
I wrote out what was that? I wrote out an affidavit and I had the director to read it, and I was going out anytime I wanted to.
Wow, that's good.
Because I told him if I can't, this is what's gonna happen.
That's what. Yeah,
And he said, you get to go wherever you want.
nice.
Nice. And I'm sure there was no point of contention because they knew you were doing nothing but trying to get your shit right.
No, I know that you ain't got the authority to have me in this building
took that approach.
24/7. That's not, you got to obey the law.
Yeah. Also, you already put in.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the rules is the rules. The rules is the rules. You know?
So I'm guessing through Health Right, you found resources.
Yes,
You got yourself.
They helped me. So, and then the counselors. in
Shout
there.
out to Health Right.
Health
Shout out
Right
to Health
360.
yo.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
And then what kind of resources did you jump into? You take training. and stuff like that?
Everything. They led you up to everything. They can lead you right up into construction. You know, but your driver's license, your birth certificate, your social security card, you having the opportunity to go hunt jobs down,
Right.
go shopping, go visit your family, everything you need. Food, everything, television, everything. They have it all. I loved it there. Everybody there was beautiful to me.
Nice.
You know what? That's because you took it the way you were supposed to.
Right.
I hate it when I hear dude, like I said, 16 with half complaining about that. I'm like, bro, this is a dog-eat-dog world. Back in the day, I'm sure you were around for those days where lifers were coming home. There were no housing places for them. You would figure it out in the street.
Yes, and it wasn't and they were being denied jobs back in the.
Right.
You had a prison sentence. That was it.
Yeah.
There was no employment. No employment.
Damn. So you took construction. You took construction. Where did you
Yeah.
do that?
Well, you mean with here?
Yeah.
people-
Yeah. If you want to go.
Okay. Well, I did that with Miguel.
Shout
Miguel
out to
got me
Miguel.
hooked up with that, and Miguel, that's my buddy. We go way back. And he called me up and say, "Look, we're opening up stuff with the construction. Do you want to do it?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was downtown in front of Grant at 4 a.m, 5 a.m, making sure I knew where to park. And I'm looking at him like, wow.
You were part of you worked at the Grand LA, huh?
All that,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Union carpenter. huh?
Union carpenter to this day. I have a registered LLC, Spear Sighted.
Nice.
I'm a union carpenter, local 213. I'm a chef apprentice. I'm a forklift driver. And I am an senior associate legal shield, a recruiter.
All I heard was made man. That's all I heard.
Many hats, but it ain't much money's going on and all that, but
Right.
they titles.
Yeah.
That's good. And for for the viewers, PV Jobs had a big project to employ people like Richard that are coming
Right.
up being previously incarcerated at the Granite Project. It's on the corner of the Disney Hall. It's now the Conrad
Right there by
Hilton.
Maple, yeah. 50,
So-
50 something story skyrise. Frank
Right.
Geary. It's right next to the Disney Hall. It's we had a great opportunity to work hand in hand with them and get. I think we placed over 200 people into union jobs at that site.
And you're one of those.
And Miguel got me hooked up with the union. And this day, I know how to lay floor. I know how to throw up drywall, ceilings, walls,
Nice.
baseboards, trim.
Nice.
You know, so I got side hustles with
Side hustles within side hustles.
Yeah.
huh?
I love it,
Man,
man.
okay, so how long have you been out now? You've been out 3 years?
I think it's 2 years and
2.3,
no,
4
it's
years.
3 years and 3 months or something.
Okay. Oh, right,
November, so December, January, 2 months. 3
Nice.
years, 2 months.
Where do you see yourself right now? Like, do you feel like you're getting those things done that you wanted in this amount of time? Given the fact that you did 31 years, you got 3 years out, like.
Well,
How's that looking?
want like the guy that's kind of like I want to meet Wallow.
Okay. And Wallow was
Who's
a lifer.
Wallow?
So.
Yeah, but he did life in California.
No, in Philly, I believe.
yeah,
Somewhere over. He's for sure a lifer though.
Yeah,
Who's Wallow, if y'all don't mind?
Gilly and Wallow, which is $1 million worth of game. Host, big podcast.
because he was on there with David.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
David Shan-
Hold on, I'm
See,
not probably
David-
having a brain
Yeah.
fart. Okay.
Yeah, I want to meet Wallow.
I thought it
wanna,
was like somebody like way off topic. But okay, never mind.
No, definitely.
Because y'all be talking about
No, Wallow is on point. David is on point.
Yeah.
I want to talk to those guys.
Yeah, shout out David. I know you've
Definitely,
been
and,
working on.
hopefully, when this drops, that's the point. That's one thing I tell people when you do the interview. Throw out any of those things that you want to do to achieve because there's hoping what we can get out of here is some networking.
Oh,
Somebody
okay,
has
well
to
I'll
know,
put it out there like this then. Okay, now during my occupation with the union, right? I rubbed elbows with foremen and superintendents, and one of my buddies just got his own loco. So now I'm thinking about I want to contract a commercial situation between the union, me, and someone else.
Damn, that's a good way to go about it, man.
So that's what I was thinking, because I can find out exactly how to do that from the union's end, and then on my part, with real estate, I can try to connect those pieces and flip a commercial property.
Real quick, I know this is really off topic, but I want to point this out before we wrap up. Is your bracelet like tools? Are they a bunch of
This
tools?
is the carpenter's tool, yeah.
What? Yo, that's dope. Can I see that? Yo, we gotta do a close up of this real quick.
you don't put
Let's
me
do
out
it.
there like
Nah,
that.
this is dope.
No, Brian.
It's tight. Like,
No.
he has every.
Is that what that was? The whole
I
time?
was
We'll
like-
do that off camera. Off camera.
But it's like screwdrivers and stuff, bro. It's like a bracelet with every tool. That's dope. But overall,
I see it. That's dope.
overall, I appreciate you being here, man. Like for real. Like I think I think we might get you back up on game, maybe. To kind of talk about your experience, the entrepreneur experience, and you becoming your own contractor and stuff like that, or not only that, but your career in the construction industry. Highlighting
I
the
want to
stuff.
get to that
We
part
could
now.
talk. No, it's all right. No, we could talk. That's a whole separate,
Okay.
separate segment we could do. But
We have another series where
Right.
it's not really like testimonies. It's more somebody learned something, a gig, or they're just founders of a whole organization or something.
Right.
And we'll have them come speak and kind of give us how they got there and everyone that we bring on those episodes. Basically, anyone that's been formerly incarcerated has the ability to do that. That's
Right,
the point
exactly.
of those
There you
ones.
go.
So,
Right.
we definitely do something like that.
But what are some final words to wrap it up that you would give to either youth, adult, or anybody in general? And if you want to tell straight to that camera right there.
Find you some business.
There you go. Hey, wise word from Richard, man. Thank you so much, Richard. Yo, give him love. Make sure you guys like, comment,
Shout out,
subscribe, man.
Richard. Yeah,
Everything that he's been saying, you being on here, it was empowering, man. There's a few little clips that we're gonna drop separately because there's some amazing stuff, mentor letters and stuff like that he wrote when he was incarcerated to kids and stuff. And bro, when I heard it, it was empowering.
Thank you,
and I'm gonna make y'all wait for it. But thank you so much. I appreciate you for real.
All the time,
Yo,
Brian.
Richard.
Appreciate
Yes,
you,
sir.
Richard.
Reentry Network Podcast, man. We out, y'all. Thank you.